from where I stand today as the worst nightmare of our framers and our nation's founders came to life. When rioters stormed the U.S. Capitol, this citadel of democracy, attacked police officers, attempt to enter this chamber and subvert the peaceful transfer of power. Donald Trump, on the very first day that he was sworn in his second term, pardoned 1,600 individuals who were convicted of crimes connected to January 6th. Felons. People who attacked police officers here on Capitol grounds. He pardoned them, gave them a get-out-of-jail-free card. And now, 15 months later, he again does the unthinkable. He sues the federal government that he administers, attempts to secure a $10 billion shakedown from the IRS. And when that fails, when he realizes that that isn't politically palatable, that the American people won't tolerate Donald Trump signing a $10 billion check of their hardworking money to himself, he dispatches the acting attorney general, his former personal attorney, to negotiate a so-called settlement. The outcome? A nearly $2 billion slush fund, where the Department of Justice will pay rioters who attacked our Capitol, these individuals. They will be paid with your money, the money of hardworking taxpayers. It is unconscionable. It is corrupt. And my Republican colleagues in this chamber do nothing about it. Where is the Speaker? Where is Mike Johnson? How can he look the officers who guard him every day, how can he look them in the eye, knowing that the people who attacked those officers will now be paid?
If somebody is black and they're hired for a job, not knowing their resume, you assume they're a DEI hire because of the color of their skin. But if Donald Trump hires right, you would assume that because you're a racist. But if Donald Trump hires
because
hold
I'm
on,
a realist.
hear me out.
A realist.
No, you're a racist. No, you're not. No, you're not a realist. You're a real douchebag, is what you are. No, hold on. If Donald Trump,
the reality is that most of them are idiots.
Okay, so most black people are idiots. Is that what you're claiming?
That's correct.
Okay, well then you're a bigot. What time is your?
Show. Then you're calling to your show.
Let me be. Answer me. Okay, hold on. No, they don't. You stutter. You stutter.
Yes, they do.
You just made the case that quote most black people are idiots. My question to you is, what time is your Klan?
Correct.
What time is your Klan rally? Are you a member of the Klan, sir? Be honest.
Here it comes. You always go to that, right?
You just said No, I don't always go to it.
But I'm just
no, I don't always go to it.
Right to it.
You just
go right to it.
You just hey, racist, pot him down. You racist Klan pig, you. You just took an entire race of people, a group of people, and you said most of them are, quote, idiots. Let me tell you who most trailer trash white supremacists are: idiots like you, who judge people based on race, who are uneducated, who are ill-informed. You, sir, are Donald Trump's base. You are a white supremacist. That's what you are, sir, to take an entire group of people and claim that they are all idiots. Sir, how many contacts would you say you have in your cell phone? Just give me a number, around. Give me about.
Well, I only have like 30 contacts.
Okay, so by the way, I'm surprised that there are only 30 people that would be willing to give out their number to you, because you sound like such a normal, nice guy. Out of those 30 people, how many of those people are black, sir?
I will say a guaranteed 0.
Gotcha. That's the point I was trying to make. Why is that? Why do you have no black people as friends or contacts? Why is that?
Why would I want to? My God. We've already established this. You know, Brian, we're just going in circles now.
Yes, we are. We're going in circles. Thank you for the call. And thank you for hanging up, you coward. He has 30 people in his phone, and none of them are black. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, that is Donald Trump's base. Sir, you are a racist. You are a bigot. You are despicable. You are scum of the earth, and I wish you nothing but the worst. You have hatred in your heart, and I wish they would deport you to Russia, sir. So if somebody...
It's fair to say that the United States will be dramatically less developed without immigrants and people of every racial and ethnic background. That's true historically, economically, scientifically, culturally, and technologically. A few examples. Enslaved Black Americans built enormous amounts of the country's early wealth through forced labor in agriculture and infrastructure. That wealth helped fuel the growth of the early U.S. economy. After slavery, Black Americans continued to make foundational contributions despite facing segregation and discrimination. Innovations by inventors, entrepreneurs, scientists, artists, soldiers, and civil rights leaders have shaped the country in countless ways. Immigrants from Europe, Asia, Latin America, Africa, and the Middle East helped build railroads, factories, farms, businesses, universities, and hospitals. Many of today's leading technology companies and medical advances have roots in immigrant talent. The U.S. has long benefited from attracting skilled people from around the world, including Nobel Prize winners, engineers, physicians, and entrepreneurs. It's also worth remembering that no single group built America by itself. Indigenous peoples were here first. Enslaved Africans were forced to contribute under horrific conditions. Successive waves of immigrants from Ireland, Italy, Germany, China, Mexico, India, Nigeria, Korea, Vietnam, and many other places all added to the country's development. So if you ask, where would America be without immigrants and people of color? The answer is, it would almost certainly be a much smaller, poorer, less innovative, and less culturally rich nation. The country's history is the result of contributions from many different groups working, sometimes willingly, sometimes under terrible coercion, over centuries. At the same time, it's important not to replace one broad generalization with another. There have been extraordinary contributions from Americans of every race and background. History is most accurate when it recognizes both the injustices many groups faced and the essential role they all played in building the country. If white racists were running this country without people of color, it would likely look like an authoritarian racial hierarchy, not a functioning multiracial democracy. You'd expect voting rights and civil rights to be stripped back, immigration restricted along racial lines, schools and media pressured to promote a distorted national story, and police and courts used unevenly. Black people, other people of color, Jews, immigrants, and even white people who oppose the regime could be targeted. Economically, it would probably become poorer and less innovative. Countries grow by using talent broadly. A system that excludes people by race wastes enormous amounts of skill, education, labor, and creativity. It would also drive away scientists, doctors, entrepreneurs, and investors. And it wouldn't necessarily be stable for white people either. Supremacist movements usually keep narrowing who counts as acceptable, and they often turn on dissenters within their own group. So the result would be more fear, censorship, corruption, and political violence, not security. The exact outcome would depend on how strong courts, elections, the press, civil society, and public resistance remained. But the direction would be toward an ethnostate and away from equal citizenship. And that is what's happening to this country now.
Much more than a bill, big deal. It's a yawn. Some people say it's wonderful. To me, compared to the Save America Act, just about everything is a big yawn.
This economy's going to take off like a rocket, y'all.
You know what I really love? I love the inflation. Here's what I would like to say. Much more than a bill, big deal. It's a yawn.
I'm going to get me a couple big lobster tails. I'm going to get me some nice ribeyes. I'm going to sit in my backyard with my family, my neighbors.
I'm interested in, I don't even have to exaggerate. Another Republican president might have done this, and I would have to have said, oh, he said it. That's the thing that he said. Gas prices going up, it's peanuts. He doesn't care about. The affordability crisis is a hoax, and doing something about housing is a yawn to him, and it's unimportant. He's making all of the Democrats commercials for them. But that said, we need to now turn to Mike Johnson, whose job it always is to pretend that Donald Trump didn't say the thing that he said.
The president has a lot going on, and I think it's safe to say he's not read through every line of that piece of legislation. It's a lot to it, and a lot of great things. And he and I have spoken about it quite a bit. He understands all the dynamics here, what he was saying, and legislation. But what he was saying is, in comparison to ensuring election integrity, which is now represented by the Save America Act, the president certainly understands the importance of affordable housing. As he's noted yesterday, he knows as much about housing as anybody because that, in many respects, was part of his portfolio and career. It will become signature, as you all know. And I said, sir, you should get the fattest black marker you have and sign your name really big on that, because the results of it, I'm telling you, are going to be very, very good for the American people, and it will fulfill your promises and your desires, sir.
Vote or whatever, just give us this one goddamn win. And I actually agree with him. He's lying about a bunch of the other stuff, but hopefully it actually gets passed because people do need help.
The president said today, I love the inflation amid these high economic...
I knew somebody was going to ask me that. It was totally out of context. You know what he was talking about. What he was saying is, it's going to be a fun thing to consider and to compare. That's what he was talking about. That was the context. I was standing right behind him.
But the camera was in front of him and a microphone too. And that's really the source of this problem, because I saw it. And you're talking about context. That context sucks. The idea that it'll be fun to compare it if and when it ever goes down. It's up now, you jackass. It's not fun. It's not fun at all, actually. That's your context, and it doesn't make the comment look any better. Which, by the way, I'm just assuming that you heard it, just in case you didn't. Here is Donald Trump, the master of political communication.
I will. I will. Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Could that be a
No, I love it. The numbers were great. You know what I really love? I love the inflation. You know why? Because as soon as this war is over, you know, I can say it now. Something you didn't know. You know, we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil. Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran, until right now. We took out the other night 22 ships late at night with no lights because they don't have any radar because we blasted the crap out of it. We took out, that's why oil's $85 a barrel.
That's not why oil is $85 a barrel, and it's not $85 a barrel. And also, why did you have to have the lights out if you have control of the Strait of Hormuz? Kind of seems like you're worried about the ships being shot. Also, that's a tiny, pathetic little fraction of the ships that used to be able to go through the Strait of Hormuz before you launched this stupid war. So you're not going to get any credit for that. But let's stay on inflation right here, because that's your context, Mr. Speaker. I love it because it's going to go down. Well, first of all, even if the war ends soon, and there is no reason to think that, we're talking about invading Carg Island right now. And there's literally no ball, even if the war ends soon, and there is no reason to think that, we're talking about invading Carg Island right now. And even if prices dropped soon after the war ended, and there's literally no reason to believe that, even if we gave you both of those things, Americans have been hurting and are hurting now. That's the context that your stupid comment went out to. Americans do not want to hear that you love the inflation because someday it might be lower. You guys attacked Joe Biden for the inflation being higher, which I'll remind you was not a result of tariffs and a stupid war he launched. It was, a global economic crisis caused by COVID. But if he had said, I love inflation at 9% because someday it'll be better, I don't think Mike Johnson would have been saying, well, we have to consider the context. This is stupid in every possible way. And let's jump to why the gas is relatively low. It's because China has been importing a lot less oil because they have clamped down on a lot of the use of oil domestically, which is rough for Chinese people, I suppose. I guess it's good for us, at least for now. It's not necessarily something they can do forever. But I'll just remind everyone, whether things improve or not in the future, they are bad now. Here is your inflation numbers. Here's energy and gas prices. They're going up. You told us you would cut them in half in 1 year. Instead, they have skyrocketed. And there's a lot of expectations that things will actually get worse in the near future, not better. There is your goddamn context.
Brad, who's fascinated by Nixon as a character in history? I think that his historical legacy is enjoying a bit of a renaissance, but I think deservedly so. As I joked with Robert backstage, if Watergate happened tomorrow, it would be like a 12-hour news story. Like, the idea that it would have taken down a presidency is crazy. By the way, if you look at the story of how the deep state took down Richard Nixon, it's not all that different from what the same groups of people, the same institutions tried to do to Donald Trump in the first Trump administration. There is a parallel.
Richard Nixon's worst behavior wasn't just being crooked. It was using the presidency like a personal protection racket, just like Trump and V.D. Vance is doing right now. The biggest scandal was Watergate. There's no solid evidence Nixon personally ordered the original break-in at Democratic headquarters, but once it happened, he helped cover it up. The White House discussed hush money, pressured agencies to interfere with the FBI investigation, and tried to contain the damage through obstruction. His own secret tapes helped prove it. Then there was the broader abuse of power. Nixon's administration kept an enemies list, discussed using the IRS against political opponents, ran illegal surveillance operations, and created the Plumbers, a covert unit that broke into the office of Daniel Ellsberg, psychiatrist, after Ellsberg leaked the Pentagon Papers. He also expanded and secretly conducted bombing in Cambodia and Laos during the Vietnam War, while misleading Congress and the public about parts of the campaign. That intensified the war and caused enormous civilian suffering. When the investigation closed in, Nixon fired officials in what became known as the Saturday Night Massacre, trying to stop the special prosecutor from obtaining evidence. That move made him look even more guilty and authoritarian.
You just heard what V.D. Vance just said. V.D. Vance and his Trump regime are living the days of Nixon. Because everything that happened with Nixon is happening right now in a lot of sense. They don't care. They don't care. J.D. Vance is excited about what is going on, what Trump is doing right now to destroy this country, because it happened with Nixon, and it happened with a lot of other bad presidents, at least 10 of them, that were crooked as hell, that tried to destroy this country. And the main thing about it was that part of the 10 presidents that tried to destroy this country all came out of the South. They were part of the Dixiecrats, the KKK, these organizations that have grown back over the years, and it shows in the South with the voting, with the gerrymandering in the South, and what they are trying to do with blacks, trying to take away the votes of the black people. I don't know how anybody cannot see this. Then you have Fox News. You have news of. It doesn't matter what the name of these companies are, because you hear them. Anytime that you hear them talking about Trump is so great about this and so great about that, they are part of the whole scheme of destroying this country. And it pisses me off to know that you guys cannot some of you cannot see it. And the Republican Party pitching in to help Donald Trump do what he is doing because they are afraid of Donald Trump. They're more afraid of being primaried by Donald Trump than they are losing their seats through votes. There'll be more of this.